Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Bol. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So today we were going to be discussing a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, and as is tradition, every morning. So thank you very much for being here today, and I hope I will be able to sort of be a medium via which we'll be able to understand this verse a bit better and in depth. So without further ado, we're going to offer the prayers to Bhagavatam by chanting 3 times Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading Canto 3, Chapter 5, verse 20 of a chapter named Vidura's Talk to with Maitreya. So please repeat after me. Mandavya Shapad Bhagavan. Mandavya Shapad Bhagavan. Praja Samya Mano Yamaha. Praja Samya Mano Yamaha. Bratu Kshetre Bujishyayam. Bratu Kshetre Bujishyayam. Jata Satyavati Sutat. Jata Satyavati Sutat. Prabhus, please. Mandavya Shapad Bhagavan. Bhagavan Praja Samya Mano Yamaha. Bratu Kshetre Bujishyayam. Jata Satyavati Sutat. Vaishnavis. Mandavya Shapad Bhagavan. Praja Samya Mano Yamaha. Bratu Kshetre Bujishyayam. Jata Satyavati Sutat. Okay. So we're going to read word by word. Please repeat. Mandavya. The great Rishi Mandavya Muni. Shapat. By his curse. Bhagavan. The greatly powerful. Praja. One who is born. Samyamanaha. Controller of death. Yamaha, known as Yamaraj. Bratuhu, of the brother. Kshetre, in the wife. Bujishyayam, kept. Jataha, born. Satyavati, the mother of both Vichitavirya and Vyasadev. Sutat, by the son, Vyasadev. Translation. I know that you are now Vidura due to the cursing of Mandavya Muni, and that formerly you were King Yamaraj, the great controller of living entities after their death. You were begotten by the son of Satyavati, Vyasadev, in the kept wife of his brother. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Mandavya Muni was a great sage. Bhagavatam 1.13.1. And Vidura was formerly the controller, Yamaraj, who takes charge of the living entities after death. Birth, maintenance, and death are three conditional states of the living entities who are within the material world. As the appointed controller after death, Yamaraj once tried Mandavya Muni for his childhood profligacy and ordered him to be pierced with a lance. Mandavya, being angry at Yamaraj for awarding him undue punishment, cursed him to become a Shudra, member of the less intelligent laborer class. Thus, Yamaraj took birth in the womb of the kept wife of Vichitravirya, from the semen of Vichitravirya's brother Vyasadev. Vyasadev is the son of Satyavati by the great sage Parashara, and Vichitravirya is the son of the same Satyavati by the great king Shantanu, the father of Bhishmadev. This mysterious history of Vidura was known to Maitreya Muni because he happened to be a contemporary friend of Vyasadev. In spite of Vidura's birth from the womb of a kept wife, because he had otherwise high parentage and great connection, he inherited the highest talent of becoming a great devotee of the Lord. To take birth in such a great family is understood to be an advantage for attaining devotional life. Vidura was given this chance due to his previous greatness. Just going to do the prayers so you can join in if you know them. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sahadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Pando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, everyone, Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I know you didn't have breakfast, but let's do it one more time with a bit of life in it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, that's better, thank you. So, I just would like also to ask all of you to give your blessing so I can speak with sincerity and with humility. So, thank you very much. So I will start here. This part I will be talking in two parts. One part will be more of a background story of Yamaraj, or Vidura in this case, because as we read Bhagavatam, we will learn more about Vidura. But in his original identity, his original identity as the Yamaraj, he is actually god of death, and he is also one of 12 Mahajans. So I would like to talk a bit more about Yamaraj as a very special devotee of the Lord. For those who are here and don't understand terminology, I'll try to keep it simple. Mahajans means, Maha means great, and Jana is like a great soul. So 12 Mahajans are 12 great devotees of the Lord who are like totally expert on spiritual knowledge, how to practice, and by their own life and example, they're very exemplary. They're also special souls in the sense that they're not like us. Sometimes we call them demigods or sages. They have different type of abilities than what we do. So in this case, Vidura, who came as Yamaraj. Who is actually Yamaraj. He comes from the Yamaloka, which he presides on, and that's the planet in a common world. We call it hellish planets. Those who are curious to know more, you can read 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when you can read a lot more about the planetary systems and distribution of the planets around the universe and what happens on each planet and what type of personalities live there and what happens there. So it's quite interesting to, if you want to go more in depth, that's the 5th canto. And Veda otherwise means knowledge, so Bhagavatam is part of the Vedas and one of the main scriptures that we use, because being connected to the devotional service rather than just explaining how to work, how to live in this world. So I would like to, as I said, I would go a little bit, talk more about Yamaraj. And so from the Bhagavatam we can understand Vidura was born as Shudra, which means he was born from a servant wife, and he didn't have any claim to the throne, or he wasn't considered a prince. However, he was kept in a palace and he was very respected. However, although he was living in the palace, he didn't have any sort of princely rights due to his lower birth than the others. Nevertheless, he comes from a very glorious background as a Yamaraj. He's also known as Dharmaraj. Dharma means religion and religious principles. Raj means king. So apart from being Yamaraj, or king of the lower planetary systems, he's also Dharmaraj, or a sort of a king of religious principles, being very versatile in them. So he comes, he's a son, Yamaraj is the son of Vivasvan, of Surya, who is a sun god, or Vivasvan, and Samnya. And he has a very famous sister. Does anybody know? So Yamaraj is also known as Yama, and does anybody know who is his sister? Yamuna. That's correct, Yamuna. So Yama and Yami were brother and sister, and Yamaraj is Yamaraj, and Yami is Yamuna, as we know, the one that is present in Vrindavan on this planet as well. So that's something about his background. And next, what happens? So when Yamaraj, why you can say why somebody gets position of to work on the lower planetary systems and serve there. It's not an easy job. Like you might know from different places that also it's commonly known, like god of death is known as Hades, or we have in Egyptian mythology Anubis or Osiris or whatever. So point is, god of death is often like shown as somebody who is very mean and horrible and not nice to those who come down. But let's do a bit of a myth busting here, because Yamaraj, being god of death, he is actually, like I said, one of the 12 Mahajans, which is extremely high position. And also, he's a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. So how can somebody like that be responsible for the sufferings of so many living entities who happen to suffer in the lower planetary system on the hellish planets? One can ask. If you read 5th canto, it's definitely very distressing reading it, and what happens to the soul in their subtle bodies, how they suffer in this material, the reactions they get from their deeds in this material world. The point is, like everywhere else, you can say Krishna is like the boss and demigods are doing his bidding. So they are doing, everything is covered. So Krishna's representatives do the stuff that normally others don't want to do. And of course, Yamaraj, being pure devotee, he is accepting this service because he wants to please the Lord. So it's not so much about what he wants, it's about what pleases the Lord. So he does that service very nicely. Within all of that, he is not very happy. Internally, you wouldn't feel very happy being in those surroundings when there is so much stress going on and so much suffering. Now one can ask, why is God doing it? Why is anybody doing it? But we need to understand one very simple fact, that everything that happens to a living entity, to which we are as well, we are living entities, it's due to our own actions. So responsibility lies with the person. Reactions are like the law. If we break the law, there is a consequence. So breaking the laws that are given in the Vedas, whether we are aware of them or not, results in a either good reaction or a bad reaction. So those who get bad reaction go to the hellish planets. Those who do good, they go to heavenly planets. But as a devotees, we don't want to go either. We want to transcend all of that and go to the spiritual place where we belong to, which is a spiritual world in service, and while serving the Lord in a devotional service. So what happens next is that Yamaraj, being there as a, I want to talk to Yamaraj as a person, because he is a person. Everyone is a person in this world. We are personalities. We are all individuals. When we read Bhagavatam, we read about different personalities again. So as you can see, each devotee, each person mentioned, there are certain qualities attached. So in this case, we have Yamaraj or Vidura. So Yamaraj wasn't very happy, so he was praying to Krishna. One can ask, why did he take birth as Vidura? Like, was it just really because of the curse? He made the mistake. He gave somebody who pierced the insect with a straw that he needs to die by being pierced with the lance, which is quite a heavy reaction for like killing an ant as a child. So Mandavya Muni wasn't very happy. He said, "Why? How could you give me that reaction for like I was a child? Are you like, you're not doing your job properly, right?" So he wasn't very happy. So he cursed Yamaraj. So as you can see here, interesting point. No matter how high position you have as an authority, there is always way to go down. Nobody is saved that unless we take care of our actions. We shouldn't abuse our position in any way. Yamaraj didn't abuse position, but he made a simple mistake. Now, as you can see from Bhagavatam, there is always story within the story. So the other story is that Yamaraj was really, really, really wanting to serve Krishna. He really wanted to be present. He really wanted to see him, to have a break from the service he's doing. Like, imagine you're doing some service that is quite stressful, like we all do, I suppose, and you feel, I just want to go for retreat, man, right? I want to go and chant, I want to go to Vrindavan, sometimes service doing continuously, it's difficult. Maintaining it is difficult. In the beginning, it's all exciting, but then after some time, it's like, I need a break. So Yamaraj felt the same way, in a way that, like, I just really want to preach. I want to prevent those souls coming here. I want to go out there and I want to tell the people of the planet Earth and different planets, I want to tell them, I want to preach about the glories of the Lord so they can take on devotional service rather than coming down here. So in that respect, due to his inner desire, Krishna arranged for all of this to happen. So it wasn't just Yamaraj was a bad person and he got just cursed. You don't get to curse somebody like Yamaraj just like that. Everything was approved and allowed by Lord Krishna because he wanted his servant to come and have a break. So sorry. So while Yamaraj took birth on this planet, Aryama, who was one of the 12 Adityas, sons of Kashyapa and Aditi, he took place of Yamaraj, so he took care of the lower planetary systems, and so Yamaraj can appear as Vidura and see Krishna on this planet. So Yamaraj, due to his love for Krishna, he actually does some sort of undercover work. sometimes we might wonder how things happen in a life, and we try to connect with the different events. Sometimes something happens in our life. Did you have any sort of strange event that happened in your life, and later on you sort of think, oh, that's why it happened? Did sometimes something happen that led to the result that you might have not expected, or you wanted, but you didn't know how to get it, and something sort of happens and things unfold in a way, and you feel you're more like an observer rather than participant? I mean, in a way, we are all here because something like this probably happened that led us to come here, to sit here today and listen to Bhagavatam and chant Hare Krishna and be amongst the devotees. Is not by pure accident. So in a similar manner, Yamaraj, as he appears to be king of hell, so to say, he would rather serve as a devotee and be in that function, be seen as a Krishna's devotee. So he comes as a Vidura. But even in the hellish planets, he also does little things that help. So for that, I'm gonna read you something that connects with the pastime of Lord Chaitanya. This is just to show you how Yamaraj really thinks about the well-being of all souls, even those who are suffering in the hellish planets. And the reason why I'm saying it is to understand the mentality of a great devotee. Why is he Mahajan? Because he thinks of the welfare of others, even in the most horrendous situation when he has to supervise punishment of the souls who did grave offenses and sins. He, at the same time, he wants them out. He wants to help them and speed up the process for them to go. So in the book Gauranga, there is something that happens. Some of you might be familiar, some of you might not, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is one of the incarnations of Krishna. He came as Lord Chaitanya, I should say. And there were two very bad personalities called Jagai and Madai. So if somebody asks you, can anybody be a devotee? The answer is yes. Even the worst criminal can become a devotee. Now that can be shocking, but it's true. And we have a real life example from Jagai and Madai. So I'm just going to read briefly. There is half a page here. And you will see why is it disconnected to Yamaraj. So in Chaitanya Bhagavata, there is a pastime of Jagai and Madai being delivered. Jagai and Madai were like the special top criminals in the universe. They were born Brahmanas in a Brahminical family, and they knew the scriptures. So they personally researched the scriptures to see what are the worst sins a person can do. So they were using their knowledge to figure out what is the worst possible thing I can do, not to avoid, but to commit. They specifically unconsciously tried to do all the sins. If to beat up a helpless person was most sinful, then they would go and find a helpless person and beat him up. They did it specifically like a checklist. Whatever were the worst sins they could do, they were trying to do all of them. This was ridiculing Yamaraj and creating a whole lot of karma. And apparently Yamaraj had a special architects in the hellish planets that were making a custom-made hell for them where they could undergo severe punishment because they were doing super sinful activities. So there is 21 hells, I believe. Am I correct? So there was a 22nd being built because 21 wouldn't do for Jagai and Madai. That's how bad they were. I mean, we are kind of smiling, but you think how bad it could be that 21 hellish planets would be sufficient for them. So he's got Vishvakarma to build another hell specifically for them too. So while the work is undergoing, they were delivered. They were delivered by Lord Nityananda. They hit Lord Nityananda. Lord Chaitanya wanted to kill them, but Lord Nityananda said, no, don't. There is a hope even for them. At that moment, they had a change of heart. They bowed down and they cried and they said, please forgive us. And they were forgiven. Literally, they got clean slate. I mean, this is like like amazing. So I'm just trying to give you some background story, even for those of you who know Jaga and Madai's story. This is really interesting, what happens in the background. So there is a 22nd hell being built. Suddenly, they get cleaned up, every clean slate. Very important thing with Jaga and Madai, because sometimes we think, okay, everybody can be devotee, but what if they go back to their old habits? Well, then it doesn't count really, because Jaga and Madai did not ever do anything bad again. So there is a very important thing to understand. Confessing the sins one week and then committing them again, and then confessing and committing is not exactly the way to go. Doing, slipping and accidentally doing something and then feeling bad and not wanting to do it is a different state of mind. But when somebody does things consciously, thinking, oh, I'll just chant Hare Krishna or confess my sins or whatever, it doesn't work. So in this case, it worked because they stayed solid as a devotees. So suddenly, as they were delivered, it says, Yamaraj assistants had written down all their bad activities, and it took something like 27 different warehouses to store the details of all the karma they had done. It was unbelievable what they were doing. When he heard about this, Yamaraj fainted. So his assistants were fanning him and trying to revive him, but he was not coming back to consciousness. Then Lord Shiva happened to come along. Lord Shiva is another one of great devotees of the Lord. You see him sometimes, he's like covered in ash and he looks quite scary with the trident, but also, although he might appear like that, he is also pure devotee of Krishna, serving as a person who attracts the worst possible people, because then he helps them out. So it's again like undercover service for Krishna. So, but Lord Shiva was passing, and he said to them, Yamaraj is not in shock, he's in ecstasy. He was so overwhelmed with love of Krishna, overwhelmed at how Lord Chaitanya is so merciful that such a sinful people started to chant the holy name and became devotees and get freed from all their sins, that he became ecstatic. He is in trance. That is why your efforts to revive him are not working. You must chant Hare Krishna in his ears. So there's an interesting point. Hellish planet, they don't get to chant Hare Krishna. They don't even, they're like, what's Hare Krishna? What's all of that? And Krishna doesn't appear in the hellish planets either. But what happened here, due to the mercy of Lord Shiva, Yamaraj, and ultimately Lord Chaitanya, Krishna went to hellish planets as his holy name. Sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is Krishna. It doesn't come in his holy name. He is the holy name. So in this instance, they started to chant Hare Krishna. Then in Yamaloka, all these employees, Yamadutas and accountants, were having a big kirtan to revive Yamaraj. In their minds, they wanted to revive Yamaraj. They were worried. Our king is like showing no signs of life. What do we do without him? So they were trying, wake up, nothing works. So they were chanting now because Lord Shiva told them so. Finally, he came back to consciousness and looked around at everybody having a big kirtan celebrating how Lord Chaitanya is delivering the fallen souls. By Lord Chaitanya's mercy, there is much less work now for the Yamadutas. Confirmed. Let's just greet the Lords. Sometime soon. Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Lord Chaitanya ki jai, Mahamantra ki jai. So what happened here is showing that Yamaraj is so purely connected to Krishna and so full of love for Krishna. And most importantly, he was so, one could say, you know how we are. Imagine you're building like a whole planet for somebody because you're like, yeah, they need it. And suddenly they don't need it anymore. We would be like, oh, the hell, I've done all the work. They need to come here anyway, right? I want them here because all this work, they need to come now and suffer. It's, you know, but a real devotee wouldn't think like this, like Yamaraj. He thought, how wonderful is that I don't need this 22nd planet for them. How wonderful is that the most sinful people in the universe were delivered and they're not coming here. How wonderful is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. How wonderful is the mercy of Hare Krishna mantra, that just by chanting one can actually clean all the sins. For those of you who want to do more about Mahamantra, you can find Shikshashtaka prayers of Lord Chaitanya, and it's 8 verses explain a lot about what actually happens while chanting Hare Krishna. He says it's cleaning of the mirror of the heart. Krishna consciousness is internal process, and our progress really is measured by how much more we're attached to serving Krishna and how less we're attached to material life and material things. So we can't see that externally. Like somebody might come as a really, paka, but internally they might not be quite there. Or somebody might come in a form and shape that we think, oh, who is that person? But internally they could be the best devotee of the Lord. So very important not to judge anyone by their appearance or anything, because we don't know. We don't know what connection that person might have with Krishna. Like all of you are here for a reason, so everyone here is a special soul because there is that connection is made, that initial connection, and you are here and we are all here now. And now what we do from this point on is our choice. So we have choice and we have our desires and we have to work hard, but there is also mercy. We need those two things. It's not just mercy of God, mercy of Krishna, it's also our desire. So if we can desire the right things, then we will be fine. So you can see here the mentality of the devotee of Yamaraj, how his priority is to serve and to help others, even those who are in his care, who are not meant to be happy. He wants them to be happy. And in this instance, there is more, which is not in this book, but I've heard in a class that actually at that point, all hellish planets were vacated. There was nobody there. It was like no one, because the power of that kirtan they've done was so strong that everyone got liberated. All the souls there were just free to go. They were instantly gone. So Yamadutas, who are servants of Yamaraj, they were like, oh, why is it like a vacation time? Nothing to do. But that's the wonderful qualities of a devotees. And then you will see that's why sometimes when you're surrounded with certain devotees, you feel the love they have, you feel the care they have, you feel there is something special about them, something attractive about those devotees. They want to give, they want to help, they want to serve. Right? Do you have that experience? I hope you do. Anyone has a good experience like that?
I'm a giver.
You're a giver as well. Good.
I give prasad to everybody.
Nice.
I give them a police job, I just give it wherever.
Wonderful. Who else feels is a giver? Who feels I would like to share and give as much as I can with others? Anybody? Sometimes, yeah.
This is just still a new kind of movement thing. Yeah, this movement of giving is still, I would say, like a new movement for me. But yeah, my experience with it so far has been, there is this sort of like, when you're in service, there is this like twinkle in your eye that begins to kind of grow, and there is like a kind of a strange kind of joy about it. So, yep.
Wonderful. So sometimes we say living is for giving, and Krishna consciousness that's like a spot-on, like summary. And not just giving, but connecting with Krishna, understanding our position as a servants. And serving the Lord means serving his devotees and really serving every living entity. And what's the best service for every living entity? We can do so much. There is devotees who give prasadam all the time. There is an amazing devotee, Parashuram Prabhu. He is like he is not of this planet. He's like a different, he's a person who is just being himself, wanting to give all the time. He goes to the war zones, he goes to different places to help every living soul. He doesn't care if they're Muslims or Jewish or anything, poor, rich. He goes there, he gives them prasadam, he gives them the holy name. He just gives. He doesn't get anything in return. Externally looking, they can't give anything. They have nothing. He goes to Ukraine. Anyway, there are devotees who know more about him here. But that's so we have amazing examples even in this life. We can look around and we can see there is so many devotees who are just naturally, they want to give, they want to serve, and they live their life accordingly. It's not like they do one day and then 10 days they're like watching Netflix for 24/7. They're there. You can see what's in their heart. Our behavior, what we do daily, is reflection of our consciousness and our desires. And no one should judge anyone, but we need to judge ourselves. Like, am I doing my best? Is this the life I want to have? In a year's time, do I want to be doing this, or do I want to be just sort of doubling, like being a little bit of a devotee, being a little bit of this, or do I want to just take a leap of faith and just sort of, let's just do it, this one life. What is one life after millions and millions of lifetimes? So by reading about these great personalities and understanding their nature and their character and how they live their lives is something that hopefully, it should be inspiring. It should be something that we take association from. They should be people, devotees whom we learn from and follow in their footsteps. Well, we can't imitate, but follow in a way of giving. So the second part, which I have very little time for it, is what happened here is externally looking, Yamaraj made a mistake. Did anybody ever make any mistake in their service and got told off? Hands up. So you've done something wrong and you got told off, right? Now, I would hope that whoever's told off was the person who did it with the love and care rather than just being like, but, again, that's something, hopefully we can always hope that the person will grow a little bit and understand that how you speak to people and how you treat them is also a reflection of your Krishna consciousness and your life and your personality as well. So we can tell somebody off, but we can do it in a way that doesn't feel like telling off, but actually gentle correction and teaching and helping and supporting. So there is same action, two different ways. Again, choices, right? You can choose to follow bad example, or you can choose that if you have anybody to correct, you can do it in a way remembering how you were told off and hurt. Maybe I don't want to cause the pain to anybody else, so let me do it in a way that person will actually feel inspired. So you tell somebody you made a mistake, but this is the way to do it correctly, and don't worry, next time will be better, and pat on the back and off we go. So it's easy, and you can smile even while doing it. So, devotees should smile a bit more. I notice everybody kind of, I'm serious devotee, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Just nobody looks at me. I'm so serious. I'm doing my service. I'm so fixed up. I'm so focused. But really, Krishna, that's like it's running a marathon. So we need to relax a bit. We need to pace ourselves, and there are many devotees here who've been around for many years. I've been, 3 decades now? It's a long time. And trust me when I say that, not because I'm better or more clever than anybody else, it's just experience. Don't make the same mistakes. Don't burn yourself up in the beginning and just be like that, because I was. And doesn't help. Just be you, think of yourself and your connection with Krishna, help others. It's easy, right? It's really easy. Just be nice. try to be nice to others. It helps. Being nice to others is like, you feel happy afterwards. I mean, did anybody feel really happy by smashing someone, like, by being angry after argument? Nobody. I mean, who feels really, oh my God, that's such a great argument. Let me tell the world how great argument I just had. Do you do that? Maybe some do. You do? You wanted to say something?
Maybe many devotees in Watford know that I was in a big collision almost 3 years ago, and there's a picture next to me put to Srila Prabhupada. For 7 months I heard, and in the church they were praying for me as well. I do have a cognitive behavior reactions when I wasn't like that before I got hit on a police bike. So I've got professionals helping me, but the things you were talking about, I did my job through a Krishna conscious thing. I joined the Leicestershire Police twice. So what's interesting is I've got the professionals, neuropsychology from Pathways helping me. And what you said, there are some times, not all the time, where I might behave in a certain way and I'm not in control of it. And that is very strange because that's not the old Rita. Does that make sense? It's a new version of me. A lot of devotees were sending me messages from Bulgaria, and they met me in Mayapur 7 years ago. So my question is, when sometimes I might remember I've said something, and that wasn't me, or I might have sworn, how is it that the mind is not in control? Vaisheshika Prabhu from Silicon Valley sent a message when he found out I was in Leicestershire General Hospital. He said he saw a picture of me next to Srila Prabhupada. So how does it work? Because I've been practicing for 17 years. I'm not initiated yet. So how does it work when your mind, obviously I know things, but I'm having to relearn, the mind deviates. Sometimes I don't remember what I've said. So when your brain gets smashed, that's what happens. So it's like new brain cells.
Right. So I wouldn't be able to tell you anything from the medical point of view, obviously. But from the spiritual point of view, there is also... obviously, I don't know. I mean, I only know what you just said, so I can't claim to understand everything like 100%. But you were saying that there is something in the consciousness that you feel like distant, something what happened.
Or I don't remember something.
Or you don't remember. Yeah, so it's like there was something somebody else almost. But then we can think in a way that all the previous lives we lived, do we remember them? So exactly. we can if there is something like this that happens. Again, there is no point, I would just say personally, there was no point dwelling on things like that because they're gone, they're in the past.
You've got to let go, yeah.
Isn't it? They're gone. We can maybe draw some conclusion from it and learn something from it and like a takeaway, okay, something happened. But it's like, actually I was thinking of something like this today. I was driving and sometimes you look at the mirror just to check what's happening at the back, and what came to my mind is I actually thought I'm going to share this, and now it just fits perfectly. You know, when you're driving the car, you have to look forward, right? Do you? I mean, how many people drive forward by looking at the mirror, looking at the back? What's going to happen? A car crash, right? It's like this body is like that car. When we are driving this body, when we are moving forward in life, if we keep looking back, to me, it felt like I just had that like a moment, it's like, it just feels just like this. I was thinking, I'm driving, yeah, this is just like that, just driving the car. If we keep looking at the mirror and looking at the back constantly, it's okay to glance now and again just to remind ourselves maybe from some past activities so we can either do better or worse or whatever. But to keep looking at the back, we're not going to move, we're going to be stagnant, we're going to have to stop the car or just carry on and, it's not going to be right, it's not going to help us, right?
I got a devotee that I met in Mayapur 7 years ago, it was my birthday yesterday. She wrote me a personal message and she said, Hare Krishna dear Rita, you went through a lot of things, such a journey, wow. I'm from Bulgaria and I live in Sofia. When the brain is injured, it's like being in an office where all the documents and files are in a total mess. Some are missing, some are damaged, some are lying on the floor. But the expert secretary can organize everything again and fill the gaps. You have such a secretary, you're brilliant intelligence, because although you struggle to remember things, you don't forget Krishna. It means he is not in your brain, he is in your heart. And after all, the mind and intelligence are in the heart, not in the brain. And I'm sure that slowly you will recover. My godbrothers Priya Muni and Lokasaranga Prabhus had a horrible car accident a few years ago during Harinam and Padayatra. They were smashed by a drunk driver. Both of them were in coma for months. Apparently I was in coma for 3.5 weeks. Priya Muni got serious brain injury. He couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, he couldn't remember. He was very, very disoriented. But now he runs around doing seva, singing kirtans again. So his brain functions are restored and amazing, but it took him several years. Be patient and fight, and then know you are a fighter. Go to doctors, do exercises for the brain. Brain can reorganize himself and start functioning differently. He has a huge capacity. And the most important, never forget the devotees. We love you, Krishna loves you, Srila Prabhupada loves you. You are not alone.